For the people who claim they only gain fat when they bulk, hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today. A quick reminder, if you guys would please click like down below. I would greatly appreciate it. If you are not following me or subscribing yet, please do so. And please drop me a comment down below. I would appreciate it so much if you would do that. Thank you. All right, let's get over to the point. I see this a lot in comments. I've seen this a lot with clients, with former clients who they're like, Jason, I can't gain muscle. And in fact, every time I bulk, I gain mostly fat. I gain nothing but fat. I gain nothing but fat every time I bulk. And you look at them and go, well, you're not fat now. You're 150 pounds. They're like, okay, see where we're about to go with this? There's a solution to this problem. And they think they're a hard gainer. They think they have a problem. And I'm like, well, your problem, do you want to know what the problem is? Or like what? You're not on 2 grams of steroids, growth hormone, insulin, and IGF-1. They're like, what? Yeah, see, you're drug-free. Or you're on very small amounts. And you're trying to bulk 3 or 4 pounds a month. I mean, that's insane, right? That's your problem. Of course you're gaining almost nothing but fat. Because you're gaining, half a pound of muscle and 3 pounds of fat. Okay? And they're not getting that. They have this idea that, well, what do you mean? Isn't that what I should be doing? Like, no, nobody should be doing that. Like, you shouldn't be gaining 3 or 4 pounds. I mean, 2 pounds a month is an aggressive bulk. And even 2 pounds, all right? Let me be clear. If you're gaining 2 pounds a month, you better be a skinny, rank novice who's skinny, like with, underweight, or on your first cycle of anabolics. Okay? Notice I didn't say on anabolics. I said your first time, those virgin receptors. For anybody else, you're just gaining fat. And here's the thing. The only people who are gaining, those are the only people who are going to gain 2 pounds of muscle in a month. Like, that's it. And I know people say, but there are charts that show muscle growth, that up to 2 pounds. Yeah, it's up to. It's up to. I mean, just like you go see at certain companies and they might say, hey, our employees make up to $300,000 a year, and you go apply and they offer you 30. I'm just throwing it out there that, yeah, up to. And there are cases where people gain 2 pounds a month. It's certainly not the majority. And it's not because they bulked faster, okay? It's because they were in a situation to where they were really underweight or really undertrained. This is what causes it. This is why they're able to do that, okay? So that you understand the situation, all right? So in that context, if you're in a case where you're still a novice, you can gain maybe a pound of muscle a month, and that's really good. So what does that mean for if you're gaining 2 pounds a month? Well, that half of it's fat. Now, you're gaining 3 pounds a month. Now, we've already covered. There's no way most of you are gaining 2 pounds. You're definitely not gaining 3 pounds of muscle in a month. So if you're gaining 3 pounds of body weight a month, statistically speaking, is the majority of it fat? Yes. Okay, so let's not even get into when they start gaining 4 or 5. Let's go with the 3. So let's say, really good scenario, you gained a pound of muscle, not just half a pound. You did this for 6 months, right? You gained 6 pounds, 6 pounds of muscle, 18 to 20 pounds of body weight. Well, you gained mostly fat, right? So the person's like, I don't earn muscle. Well, you gained muscle. You just gained mostly fat. You didn't gain all fat, but you gained mostly fat, right? And that's assuming, all right, that pound of muscle assumes your training was really, really dialed in. Okay, was your training dialed in? Like, how hard were you training? Like, be honest with yourself. Like, were you pushing your squats, your bench press, your pull-ups and all that really hard and filling in the gaps with supplemental work to fatigue, to failure with appropriate volume, sleep on point, all that? Were you doing all that? You might not have even gained a pound of muscle. You didn't have that stuff dialed in. So what happened then? So you've gained 12 to 14 pounds of body fat. So what happens when you diet it off? Well, you lose some muscle tissue. especially if you don't have a lot of knowledge and experience, especially if you felt really fat, like, oh man, I'm getting fat, and you crash diet really fast. How many of them are like, yeah, man, I lost that weight in 6 weeks? Like, you did what? You lost 20 pounds in 6 weeks. Yeah, you don't think you lost a bunch of muscle? Well, yeah, no, maybe. So that's why you didn't gain any muscle. You bulked too fast, gained way more fat than you gained muscle, because you gained muscle just fine. And then you cut and you panicked and you crash dieted and you lost 5 pounds of muscle tissue. Not that you can't gain muscle, you're eating like a jackass. Okay, and that's my point. And I will point this out. Look, if you're whatever, 160 pound guy right now, now let's say you barely eat. Like, let's say you gain even slower than the pound a month, but your training is perfect. And you're eating, like, let's say you're eating 150 grams of protein a day. And you're even 160, right? But you're not shredded. You're at a normal, healthy, reasonable body fat. And you barely gain any weight. Over the 6 months, you only gain 3 pounds of muscle, of body weight. 2 pounds. In 6 months. You do know you're going to gain muscle. If your training is truly dialed in, at that point, there is no way you didn't gain significant amounts of muscle. I'm going to go out so far as to say that if you only gained 2 pounds in that 6 months, but your training was perfect, you will have gained more muscle than the weight you gained. You will have lost body fat. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. And therein lay the problem. These guys are just bulking too fast instead of saying, hey, how about I just stay nice and lean and barely slowly gain weight and get my training dialed in, get my nutrition really dialed in, keep my protein high, make sure I'm eating a clean, healthy diet, make sure my sleep's on point, and I'm really and truly putting in the work in the gym. I'm not missing workouts. I'm doing a proper workout with proper programming, hard work sets, built around big compounds, filling in the gaps with smaller movements, good form. Why don't you do that? And then you'll end up being leaner and bigger than where you started. Instead, these guys are over bulking and then going, I gained nothing but fat. And then when I diet, it's all gone. I didn't gain anything. It's like, well, you did, but you burned off the little bit that you got because you were being silly. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. That's the problem. You're normal. Everybody only gains mostly body fat in that situation. It's called being a member of the human race. That's what happened. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.